The giant space station hovered silently above the bright blue planet of Varela. It was called Varela Station, and it was the center of the galaxy's most important peace meeting. Many alien races had gathered there, hoping to stop years of silent tension between the Varelian Empire and the humans from Earth. Captain Elias Ward stood among the crowd. He was a human, but not just any human. He had been a soldier once, fighting in many battles, but now he was a diplomat. His job was to represent humanity with honor and honesty. The station's tall walls shimmered with light from distant stars. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved around him, speaking strange languages. Some looked curious, some looked angry. Elias knew that not everyone wanted peace. The most important person here was Princess Elentria, the crown heir of the Varelian Empire. She was young but wise. Her eyes were calm and thoughtful, and her long silver hair flowed like the light of distant moons. But there was a weight on her shoulders. Everyone expected her to make choices for the future of her people. Elias watched her from a distance. She was surrounded by guards and advisors. No one talked to her freely. Suddenly, the meeting hall grew quiet. The Varelian Emperor had arrived by a hologram, and his voice filled the room. "Today, we stand at the edge of a new future," said one of peace and cooperation. "But trust must be earned." Elias felt a chill. He had heard this kind of speech many times before, but this time was different. He believed it could be real. After the Emperor's speech, the leaders broke into smaller groups. Elias found himself near the Varelian delegation. He hoped to meet Princess Elentria, but the guards kept her distant. Then, a sudden moment changed everything. The translator device on the princess's wrist malfunctioned. She tried to explain something important in her language, but the other delegates misunderstood. They thought she was insulting the humans. Whispers spread fast. Some delegates frowned. The room became tense. Elias stepped forward. He did not speak the Varelian language perfectly, but he understood enough to know what she meant. With calm words he explained to the others, "She speaks of respect and peace, not insult." The room slowly relaxed. Elentria looked surprised and grateful. Their eyes met for the first time. Later, at a small garden deck on the station, Elias found the princess alone, looking at the stars. "You helped me," she said quietly. "I only told the truth," Elias replied. She smiled softly. "You are different from other humans." "I am just a man," he said. "But I believe in honesty, and I believe in peace." They talked for hours, sharing stories about Earth and Varela.
Elias
Told her about Earth's oceans and mountains. Elentria spoke of her people's ancient history and their hope for change. In that moment, they were not princess and soldier, but two souls reaching out across the stars. As the night grew deeper, Elias looked at her and whispered, "I wish I could marry her." He thought no one heard, but Elentria did. She turned slowly and said with a smile, "My answer is yes." The news of Princess Elentria's answer spread like wildfire through Varela Station. At first, no one believed it. How could a Varelian princess say yes to a human she had just met? It was unheard of.
Right.
HFY had strict rules about marriage rules that did not include humans. But Elentria was not like others. She was brave and hopeful. The morning after Elias's quiet whisper and her soft answer, the princess stood before the gathered leaders and diplomats. Her voice was calm but strong as she spoke. "I accept Captain Elias Ward's wish," she said, "not just for myself, but as a symbol of peace between our peoples." Gasps echoed around the great hall. Cameras focused on her. The aliens. Faces showed shock, anger, and confusion. Elias stood quietly beside her, his heart pounding. He never imagined this moment would come so soon, or be so public. The Emperor's hologram flickered on. His face was stern, filled with disappointment. "Royal marriage is not a simple matter," he said. "It binds not just a people, but entire worlds. Captain Ward is a human. The Empire does not accept such unions." Latria held her ground. "Father, if we are to build a new future, then old rules must change. I choose Elias because I see in him the kindness and courage that can unite us." Whispers turned to murmurs. Some delegates whispered of rebellion. Others looked hopeful. Ambassador Rektar, a sharp-eyed alien from a rival faction, narrowed his gaze. He saw the princess's decision as a weakness and a chance to break the fragile peace. Meanwhile, the human delegation buzzed with excitement and disbelief, and many had thought humans were too young and small to matter in galactic politics. Elias and Elantria had just changed everything. That night, Elias returned to his quarters, unable to sleep. He thought about the princess and the heavy burden she had taken. He knew her choice could cost her everything, her family, her future, even her life. A soft knock came at his door. It was Elantria. "I couldn't stay away," she said. With a tired smile, "I need to talk." Elias invited her in, and they sat together in the quiet room. "Do you regret saying yes?" he asked. "No," she replied firmly, "but I fear what the Empire will do to me." "To us," Elias took her hand. "Then we face it together." Over the next days, their secret meetings became the only moments of peace amid growing chaos. They shared dreams of a world where humans and Varelians could live as one. But Ambassador Rektar was not idle. He spread rumors and lies, warning the Council that Elias was a spy, a threat to the Empire's purity. The Council demanded a meeting with the princess. They told her to reconsider, to end the foolish engagement before it was too late. Elantria looked at Elias, her eyes full of determination. "I will not back down." In the public square, protests began. Some Varelians shouted against the human outsider. Others cheered for love and change. Elias stood beside Elantria during the storm, feeling both proud and afraid. One night, as the station's twin moons shone overhead, Elias whispered again, "I wish this could be simple." Elantria smiled softly. "Nothing worth fighting for is ever simple." The battle for their future had just begun. The once bright halls of Varela Station now felt heavy with suspicion and fear. The news of the princess's decision had shaken the Empire to its core. Whispers of rebellion, betrayal, and danger filled every corner. Princess Elantria knew the cost of her choice was growing heavier. The Council had given her an ultimatum: end her engagement to Elias or face exile. The Emperor himself had declared that any alliance with humans was a threat to the Empire's purity. In strength, Elias felt the weight too. Once a proud soldier and diplomat, he now felt like a prisoner in this world he wished to unite with. Human delegation had been quietly moved to the outer ring of the station. Their movements watched closely. One evening, as stars twinkled beyond the massive windows, Elantria approached Elias with a steady look in her eyes. "We must leave," she said. "The Council's grip tightens. I cannot stay and watch them destroy everything we hope for." Elias nodded, heart pounding. "Where will we go?" "There is an old ship, my private vessel, hidden on the outer docks. If we can reach it, we can travel to the forbidden moon of Solaris. No one dares to follow there." They moved carefully through the station's dim corridors. Guards patrolled, their faces hard and cold. Every step was filled with danger. When they reached the docking bay, the sleek silver ship gleamed under the pale lights. Elantria's hands moved with practiced skill, unlocking the ship's controls. As the engines hummed to life, an alarm suddenly blared. The Council had discovered their plan. "Elias, we must go now," Elantria shouted. The ship lifted off just as guards flooded the bay below. They escaped the station's orbit and entered warp space. Stars stretching into lines as they traveled faster than light, But their relief was short-lived. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Systems flickered. Something had sabotaged the engines. Elantria fought to keep control. "We're losing power. Brace yourself." The ship crashed on the surface of Solaris, a barren, rocky moon with harsh winds and no signs of life. The impact threw Elias forward, pain shooting through his shoulder. When silence returned, they looked out at the bleak landscape. No help would come here. "We are stranded," Elias said, trying to stand. Elantria steadied him. "We survived together." The moon was cold and unforgiving. They had only limited supplies and no way to contact anyone. For days they explored the silent plains, learning to rely on each other. Elias used his survival skills to find water beneath the surface. Elantria shared ancient knowledge about the moon's hidden caves and safe shelters. Alone under the alien sky, their bond deepened. They spoke not as princess and soldier, but as two hearts reaching for hope. One evening, as the twin moons of Solaris rose, Elias looked at Elantria and said softly, "I never thought I would find a place like this with someone like you." 8. Smiled, her silver hair glowing in the moonlight. "Nor did I. Maybe this is where our future begins, not in the halls of power, but here, together." But their peace was fragile. Unknown to them, Ambassador Rektar had sent a small fleet to track their ship and capture them. The Empire was not done yet. The silent moon of Solaris held Elias and Elantria captive, but it also gave them something precious, a chance to see each other clearly, away from the noise of politics and power. Yet far beyond the barren surface, the Empire's shadow stretched long. Ambassador Rektar's fleet hunted them, intent on bringing the princess back, or destroying the hope she represented. When rescue finally arrived, it was not a welcome. Soldiers boarded the ruined ship, their weapons trained on Elias and Elantria. They were taken back to the heart of the Empire, the great capital world of Varelia Prime. The once hopeful station was replaced by cold halls of judgment. The royal council had gathered. Dressed in their formal robes, faces stern and unforgiving, Elantria stood before them, her posture strong despite the weight of the accusations. "You have broken the sacred laws of the Empire," the lead counselor declared. "You endangered the future of our people by joining with a human." Elias was brought forward, his hands bound. The council sneered at the human's presence. But Elantria raised her voice, clear and steady. "I do not ask for your mercy. I ask for understanding. Elias is not a threat. He is a symbol of what we can become if we open our hearts." The chamber fell silent, shocked by her words. The council allowed Elias to speak, thinking it would make no difference. But Elias surprised them all. He spoke with quiet power about humanity's strength, not in weapons, but in hope, love, and watch. Unity. He told stories of Earth, where people from different nations and beliefs learned to live together, where kindness and courage changed the world. His words echoed in the grand hall, touching some hearts, even as others hardened. Young Virulins, watching the trial across the Empire's many worlds, began to question old fears. They saw a future where humans and Varelians could be friends, partners, even family. Outside, protests and celebrations mixed. Shaking the Empire's foundations, the Emperor, watching from his throne, was forced to listen. The walls of tradition creaked under the weight of change. Elantria's father finally spoke, his voice weary but thoughtful. "Perhaps the strength of a ruler is not in power alone, but in the courage to choose love." The council's resistance softened. A new path was born, one of shared leadership, of unity between humans and Varelians. The great hall was filled with light and music. For the first time in the history of the Varelian Empire, a wedding was held between a human and a Varelian princess. The event was not just a ceremony, it was a symbol of a new beginning for two worlds once separated by fear and misunderstanding. Elias Ward stood beside Princess Elantria, his heart full of hope. He looked at her silver hair shining under the soft glow of the crystal chandeliers. Her eyes met his, warm and full of love. Around them were leaders, citizens, and friends from both Earth and Varela. The crowds cheered not just for the union of two people, but for the future they represented. The emperor, once a stern figure of tradition, now smiled with quiet pride. He had come to see that true strength came from unity and compassion. As the ceremony began, Elentria spoke first. "Today, we do not just join our lives," she said. "We join our peoples, our hopes, and our dreams. Together, we will build a future where love and understanding guide us." Elias took her hand. "I promise to stand by you, not as a conqueror, but as a partner. Together, we will face whatever challenges come." Their vows echoed through the hall, touching every heart. After the ceremony, Elias and Elantria traveled across the galaxy. They visited distant worlds, sharing stories of their journey and inspiring others to believe in peace. Old enemies now reached out to Earth, seeking guidance and friendship. Humanity's gift of kindness and creativity spread like light in the darkness. On one special night, as they stood beneath a sky filled with stars, Elentria leaned close to Elias. "Look," she said softly. "That new star, they named it after Earth and Varela, symbol of our union?" Elias smiled, feeling the warmth of their future shining bright. He whispered, "I didn't say yes to save the galaxy. I said yes because I fell in love with the human who whispered hope." Together, they watched the new star twinkle, a beacon of love, courage, and a better tomorrow.